The notification lit up my phone at 3:42 p.m. while I was in the middle of a board meeting with 12 executives from Carter Entertainment Holdings. We were discussing the acquisition of 3 more theme parks to add to our portfolio, each one representing a $200 million investment, when the family group chat exploded with activity. "Excuse me for just a moment," I said to the boardroom, discreetly checking my phone. "Family trip planning, 7 messages. Mom, we've finalized the Disney World trip. December 15th to 22nd. Everyone's tickets are booked. Dad, can't wait. First family vacation in 3 years. Sister Emma, the kids are so excited. Thank you Mom and Dad for paying for everything. Brother Josh, this is going to be epic. 7 days at the Grand Floridian. Mom, we've got the deluxe dining plan, park hopper tickets and VIP experiences booked for everyone. Emma, wait, where's Madison's name on the reservation list? Mom, Madison can't afford a trip like this right now. We decided it's better to keep it to immediate family who can actually contribute." I stared at my phone, sitting in a conference room on the 42nd floor of a building I owned, surrounded by executives discussing deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars, reading about how I couldn't afford a Disney vacation. Josh, yeah, Madison's still figuring out her life. No point in stressing her finances. Dad, maybe next year when she's more stable. Emma, have fun being poor, Madison. Face with tears of joy will send you pics from Space Mountain. The irony was breathtaking. They were planning to stay at the Grand Floridian, a resort that my company had helped finance during Disney's expansion 3 years ago. They'd be using VIP services that my corporate partnerships had helped develop. They'd be enjoying experiences that existed partly because of deals I'd personally negotiated. And they thought I was too poor to join them. Miss Carter. One of the executives was looking at me expectantly. Your thoughts on the Orlando market analysis? I looked up from my phone, back to the presentation about theme park acquisitions and entertainment industry projections. The Orlando market remains robust. Our partnerships there have been particularly profitable. I typed a quick response to the family chat. Enjoy. Roller coaster sparkles. Mom, we knew you'd understand, honey. Maybe we can plan something smaller for you next year. Emma, like a weekend at Six Flags. Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy. After the meeting ended, I stayed in the conference room, looking out at the Chicago skyline and thinking about understanding. My family understood that I drove a modest car and lived in a simple apartment. They understood that I worked for an entertainment company but never talked about my specific role. They understood that I was 29, unmarried, and appeared to be struggling to find my direction in life. What they didn't understand was that Madison Carter, the family disappointment, was also Madison Carter, CEO of Carter Entertainment Holdings, owner of 7 theme parks, 12 resort properties, and enough Disney stock to influence corporate decisions. What they really didn't understand was that their VIP Disney experience was happening because I'd personally called in favors with Disney executives I'd worked with for years. My phone rang. Jennifer Walsh, my executive assistant. Madison, I have Robert Chin from Disney Security on the line. He says it's regarding the Mitchell family VIP package. My heart stopped. Mitchell was my family's last name before I'd legally changed it to Carter for business purposes. Put him through. Miss Carter. This is Robert Chin from Disney World Security and Guest Services. I'm calling about a VIP package that was arranged for the Mitchell family December 15th through 22nd. Yes. There seems to be some confusion about authorization. The package includes complimentary Grand Floridian accommodation, unlimited access passes and premium dining reservations. Our records show you as the corporate contact who arranged these amenities. I'd forgotten. 6 months ago, when Mom had casually mentioned wanting to take the grandkids to Disney, someday when we could afford it, I'd quietly arranged for a VIP package to be available if they ever booked a trip. I'd meant it as a surprise gift, thinking I'd reveal my involvement when they planned their vacation. Instead, they'd planned their vacation without me and told me I was too poor to participate. Yes, I arranged those amenities. Should we proceed with the package as planned? The value is approximately $45,000 in complimentary services. I looked out the window at the city where I'd built my business empire, thinking about my family enjoying a vacation I'd secretly provided while mocking my financial situation. Actually, Robert, I need to make some changes to that package. What kind of changes? Cancel the Mitchell family VIP services. All of them. Cancel? Are you sure? This is a significant package resort upgrade. Dining plan, fast pass privileges, character meet and greets. I'm sure. Cancel everything that's currently complimentary. Let them book and pay for their own standard package. Should I provide them with an explanation? I smiled, thinking about my sister's laughing emoji and her suggestion that I might afford Six Flags someday. Tell them the corporate sponsorship they were relying on has been redirected to other priorities. Understood. What about the December dates? Should I note that those reservations are no longer held? Let me think about that. After hanging up with Disney security, I called my travel coordinator. Sandra, I need you to book a vacation for me. Disney World, December 15th through 22nd. The same dates as your family? Sandra had been coordinating my business and personal travel for 3 years. She knew about my complicated relationship with my family, though not the full extent of how they viewed my financial situation. The exact same dates. What level of accommodations? I want the presidential suite at the Grand Floridian. I want unlimited everything park access dining experiences. I want a personal Disney guide for all 7 days. That's going to cost approximately $75,000. Book it. Should I arrange for the usual corporate identity protection? That was Sandra's polite way of asking if I wanted to travel incognito, which I usually did to avoid media attention about my business activities. No. I want full VIP recognition. I want Disney executives to know I'm there. I want red carpet treatment. Are you sure? That's going to attract attention. I'm counting on it. That evening, I called my oldest friend, Amy, who knew about both my family situation and my business success. They literally told you to have fun being poor while planning a Disney vacation? Amy was incredulous. Madison, that's beyond cruel. It gets better. They're staying at a resort I helped finance, using VIP services I arranged, during dates I could have joined them if they'd bothered to ask. So what are you going to do? I'm going to Disney World. Same dates as them? Same dates. Better accommodations. Maximum visibility. Amy was quiet for a moment. You're going to run into them. I'm counting on it. Madison, are you sure about this? Once they know who you really are, everything changes. Everything changed when they decided I was too poor for family vacations. The next day I had Jennifer send an email to my family. Hi everyone. I saw the Disney plans in the group chat and wanted to let you know I'll actually be in Orlando those same dates for work. Maybe we'll run into each other. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Mom, work? What kind of work takes you to Disney World? Me, entertainment industry stuff. Boring meetings mostly. Josh, are you staying on property or some cheap motel off I-4? Me, on property. Should be fun. Emma, if you see us, you'll recognize us by our VIP tour guide. We got upgraded to some amazing package. I almost laughed. Emma was bragging about VIP services that no longer existed. Me, that sounds incredible. Hope it all works out. 2 weeks before the trip, my phone rang. It was Mom. Madison, honey, we need to talk. What's going on? There's been some kind of mix-up with our Disney reservation. They called to say our VIP package was canceled due to some corporate policy change. Oh no. That's terrible. We're trying to figure out what happened. The woman from Disney said something about corporate sponsorship being redirected, but we never had corporate sponsorship. We paid for everything ourselves. Maybe it was a computer error? Maybe. But now instead of the Grand Floridian, we're staying at Port Orleans. Instead of VIP dining, we have basic meal plans. The kids are going to be so disappointed. I made sympathetic noises while privately noting that Port Orleans was still a perfectly nice resort, just not the luxury accommodation they'd been expecting. I'm sure you'll still have a wonderful time, Mom. I hope so. It's just frustrating. We were so excited about the upgrade and now? She sighed. At least we can still afford the basic package. That's what matters. Family time together. You're right. Speaking of which, when you said you'd be there for work, where exactly are you staying? I'm not sure yet. My assistant handles all the travel arrangements. Well, if you want to meet up for a meal or something, let us know. Though I should warn you, with our reduced dining plan, We can't afford anywhere too expensive. Of course, Mom. I understand. December 15th arrived gray and humid in Orlando. I flew down on the Carter Entertainment Holdings corporate jet, a detail I'd specifically requested Sandra include in my travel itinerary. The flight crew wore company uniforms with our logo prominently displayed. At Disney World, I was met by not one but 3 Disney executives, including the Vice President of VIP Services, who personally escorted me to the presidential suite at the Grand Floridian. Ms. Carter, it's an honor to have you staying with us, said Patricia Williams, the VP. Your company's partnership has been invaluable to our expansion projects. Thank you, Patricia. I'm looking forward to experiencing the parks from a guest perspective. We've arranged everything you requested. Personal guide, unlimited access, priority seating everywhere. Is there anything else we can provide? Actually, there is one thing. I have family staying here at the resort this week. They don't know about my business identity, and I'd like to keep it that way unless they approach me directly. Of course. We'll be discreet. The presidential suite was magnificent, 2,300 square feet with views of the Magic Kingdom, a full kitchen, living and dining areas and a private balcony. It was the kind of accommodation that cost $5,000 per night and was usually reserved for celebrities and heads of state. I unpacked and changed into casual clothes, then headed down to the lobby to check out the resort. And possibly run into my family. I didn't have to wait long. As I was admiring the gingerbread house display in the Grand Floridian lobby, I heard familiar voices. Excuse me, Emma was saying to a cast member at the concierge desk. We were supposed to have VIP dining reservations, but they're not showing up in your system. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't see any VIP packages associated with your reservation. You have the standard dining plan, which provides excellent options throughout the property. But we specifically booked VIP dining. We were supposed to have priority seating at California Grill, Monsieur Paul, Victoria and Albert's. Josh joined the conversation. Look, we paid good money for this vacation. We expect the premium services we were promised. The cast member was clearly trying to be helpful while explaining that their reservation didn't include any of the services they expected. I watched from across the lobby as my family realized their Disney experience wasn't going to be the luxury vacation they'd planned. Madison. Mom's voice came from behind me. I turned to see her approaching with Dad, both looking tired and frustrated. Mom. Dad. What a coincidence. We didn't expect to see you here. Especially not at the Grand Floridian. My work meetings are in this area, so they put me up here. Your work meetings? I thought you said entertainment industry. That's right. Dad looked around the opulent lobby with its marble floors and crystal chandeliers. This place costs $800 a night. What kind of entertainment company puts their employees up at the Grand Floridian? A good one, I guess. Emma and Josh had finished their frustrating conversation with the concierge and joined our family reunion. Madison. Emma hugged me, though I could see the stress in her face. Isn't this place incredible? We're having the most amazing VIP experience. It looks like it's going great, I said, glancing toward the concierge desk where they'd been arguing about missing reservations. Well, there have been a few small hiccups, Josh admitted. Some computer errors with our dining reservations. But we're working it out. I'm sure you are. Emma studied my clothes, designer jeans and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than their daily park tickets. Madison, what exactly do you do for work again? I work in entertainment. But what do you do? Before I could answer, Patricia Williams appeared at my elbow. Miss Carter, I hope everything is satisfactory with your suite? Perfect, thank you. Your private guide will meet you at the Magic Kingdom VIP entrance tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. as requested. And I've confirmed your dinner reservation at Victoria and Albert's tonight. They're very excited to host you. My family went dead silent. Thank you, Patricia. I'll see you tomorrow. After Patricia left, I turned back to my family, who were staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Madison, Dad said slowly, who was that woman? Disney VIP Services. And she called you Miss Carter. That's my name. Since when? Your name is Madison Mitchell. Since I legally changed it 6 years ago for business purposes. Mom found her voice. Business purposes? What business? I looked around the Grand Floridian lobby at my family who had specifically excluded me from their vacation because I was too poor, at the resort where I was staying in accommodations that cost more per night than they made in a week. I own Carter Entertainment Holdings. We develop and operate theme parks and resort properties. The silence was deafening. You own what? Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Entertainment company. We have properties in 7 states, including partnerships with Disney on several expansion projects. Josh sat down heavily in one of the lobby's elegant chairs. When you said you worked in entertainment, I meant I own an entertainment company. How long? Dad asked. I started the company 8 years ago. We've been profitable for 6 years. Madison, Mom said, are you telling us you're wealthy? I'm telling you I own a company that generates approximately $800 million in revenue annually. Emma made a sound that was somewhere between a gasp and a sob. 800 million. That's gross revenue. Net profit is considerably less. How much less? Josh asked. About $200 million less. The math hit them like a physical blow. My family was sitting in the lobby of a luxury resort, realizing that the daughter and sister they'd excluded from their vacation for being poor was actually worth more money than they could comprehend. The VIP package we lost, Mom said slowly, the one Disney said was canceled due to corporate policy changes, was arranged by me 6 months ago. I thought I'd surprise you when you finally booked your Disney trip. You arranged our VIP package? I arranged a complimentary VIP package for my family. When I learned that my family had planned a vacation without me because I was too poor to afford it, I canceled the package. Emma started crying. Madison, we had no idea that I was successful, or that I was hurt by being excluded. Both. Either. We thought, you always seem to be struggling. You drive that old Honda, you live in that small apartment. I drive a Honda because it's reliable. I live in a small apartment because I travel constantly for work and don't need space I won't use. But you never said anything about money, about your business. Because every time I tried to talk about my work, you'd change the subject. Because you seemed more comfortable thinking of me as the family failure than as someone who'd built something significant. Dad was staring at his hands. Madison, I'm sorry. We were wrong. You were wrong about my finances. But you were right about one thing. What's that? Family is important. Which is why it hurt so much to be told I couldn't afford to be part of this family vacation. We sat in the Grand Floridian lobby, 7 family members processing 8 years of misunderstandings and assumptions. Other guests walked by, enjoying their magical Disney vacations, while we dealt with the reality that magic sometimes looks different than expected. What happens now? Emma asked. Now you enjoy your vacation. You have a wonderful resort, park tickets and meal plans. You'll create beautiful memories with your children. And you? I'll enjoy my vacation too. Different accommodations, different dining, but the same parks, same magic. Madison, Mom said, could we spend some time together this week? As a family. I'd like that. Even after how we treated you. Especially after how you treated me. Because that's what family does. We forgive each other and try to do better. Josh spoke up. The VIP package you canceled. Would you consider? Josh, are you asking me to reinstate VIP services for the family vacation I wasn't invited to? He had the grace to look embarrassed. When you put it like that, it sounds pretty bad. It sounds honest. So that's a no? I smiled. That's a let me think about it. That evening, while my family ate at the Grand Floridian Cafe with their standard dining plan, I had dinner at Victoria and Albert's, the resort's most exclusive restaurant. 7 courses, wine pairings, personal attention from the chef. I ate alone by choice, thinking about families and money and the complicated ways that love and resentment can coexist. The next morning my phone rang. It was Sandra. Madison, I have Robert Chin from Disney Security on the line again. He's asking about reinstating some services for the Mitchell family. Put him through. Ms. Carter, I hope I'm not overstepping, but I wanted to check with you about the Mitchell family situation. We've had requests from several cast members asking if there's anything we can do to improve their experience. What kind of requests? They seem like a nice family who are disappointed about their reduced accommodations. Some of our staff have asked if we could authorize small upgrades, better dining reservations, fast pass access, things like that. Did the family ask for these upgrades? No, ma'am. Our cast members are just trying to create magic for guests who seem stressed about their vacation not meeting expectations. I thought about this. Disney cast members who dealt with thousands of guests every day had noticed my family's disappointment and wanted to help. That said something about the kind of people my family were, underneath their assumptions about money and success. Robert, I want you to do something for me. Of course. Restore their VIP dining reservations. Upgrade their FastPass access. Arrange for character meet and greets for the kids. But I want one condition. What's that? I want you to tell them the upgrades are courtesy of a fellow guest who overheard their situation and wanted to help make their vacation magical. A fellow guest? Don't mention my name. Just say someone wanted to share the magic. Miss Carter, that's very generous. It's Christmas season, Robert. Everyone deserves a little magic. 2 days later, I was enjoying a private VIP tour of the Magic Kingdom when I spotted my family near Space Mountain. Emma's kids were wearing Mickey ears and carrying balloons, all of them laughing and taking pictures. Emma saw me first and waved me over. Madison, you'll never guess what happened. What? Someone at the resort upgraded our whole vacation. New dining reservations, fast pass access, even private character meet and greets for the kids. That's amazing. Do you know who? Disney said it was a fellow guest who wanted to spread holiday magic. Can you believe it? A complete stranger made our whole vacation incredible. I smiled. That's the Disney magic for you. I know this sounds crazy, but part of me wonders if it was you. Me. You have connections here, right? For your business. I have some connections, yes. Did you arrange the upgrades? I looked at my niece and nephew, sticky with cotton candy and glowing with the joy that only Disney can create. I looked at my parents, relaxed and happy for the first time in months. I looked at Emma and Josh, finally able to enjoy the vacation they'd planned without financial stress. Emma, does it matter who arranged them? I guess not. If it was you, I want to say thank you. And I want to apologize again for how we treated you. The important thing is that you're all having a magical vacation. We are. But Madison, this week has made me realize something. What's that? We don't know you at all, do we? The real you. We've been so focused on what we thought your life looked like that we never asked what it actually looked like. What would you like to know? Everything. Your business, your success, how you built it, what makes you happy. All of it. That might take a while. We have time. This vacation ends Saturday, but our relationship doesn't have to end with it. On our last night in Orlando, my family invited me to join them for dinner at their newly upgraded restaurant reservation. We sat around a table at California Grill watching fireworks over the Magic Kingdom, talking about business and dreams and the 8 years we'd spent not really knowing each other. I have a confession, Mom said as we watched Tinker Bell fly over Cinderella Castle. When you were growing up, your father and I always worried about you. Worried how? You were so independent, so determined to do things your own way. You never seemed to need us the way Emma and Josh did. I always needed you. I just needed you differently. We didn't understand that. We thought needing help meant asking for money or advice about practical things. We didn't realize that you needed us to see your success, to celebrate your achievements, to be proud of what you'd built. I'm proud of what you built, Dad added. I'm sorry it took me so long to say that. What about the money? Josh asked. The fact that you're, well, rich? What about it? Does it change things? Between us? I thought about this carefully. It changes some things. I can afford to be generous in ways I couldn't before. I can help with emergencies, contribute to family expenses, make experiences possible that wouldn't otherwise happen. And what doesn't it change? The fact that I love you. The fact that I want to be part of this family. The fact that I'd rather spend Christmas at Mom and Dad's house than at some exclusive resort. Emma laughed. Even after we told you to have fun being poor? Especially after that. Because you gave me the opportunity to show you who I really am. Who are you really? She asked. I'm Madison Carter, CEO of Carter Entertainment Holdings. I'm also Madison Mitchell, youngest daughter of Robert and Patricia Mitchell, sister to Emma and Josh, aunt to Tyler and Sophie. And those two people are the same person? They're the same person who learned that money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy the feeling of being included in family traditions. It can't buy the satisfaction of being seen and valued for who you are rather than what you have. So what happens now? Mom asked. Now we go home and we start over. You get to know the daughter who owns a business empire. I get to know the parents who raised me to be strong enough to build that empire. And maybe we all learn that success looks different than we thought. Speaking of success, Josh said, I have to ask. When Emma texted, "Have fun being poor," what did you think? I laughed. I thought it was the most expensive text message in family history. How expensive? Canceling your VIP package cost you about $45,000 in complimentary services. Reinstating it cost me $30,000 in personal favors and corporate goodwill. Josh did the math. So Emma's emoji cost the family $75,000? Give or take. Most expensive laugh-crying emoji ever. But worth it, I said, because it brought us here. To Disney World? To understanding. 6 months later, when Emma and Josh started having financial problems due to unexpected medical bills, they called me. Not to ask for money but to ask for advice. We worked together to create budgets, explore options and find solutions that maintain their dignity while addressing their needs. When Mom and Dad decided to downsize their house, I helped them find a beautiful condo and arrange the moving logistics. When they protested that they couldn't afford my help, I explained that family members help each other not because they can afford to, but because love makes it affordable. And every Christmas we take a family vacation. Sometimes to Disney, sometimes to other destinations, always together. I pay for the accommodations, they pay for their own flights and meals, and we all pay attention to what matters most. The magic that happens when people who love each other choose to see each other clearly. Because the real magic isn't in the VIP packages or the luxury suites or the private guides. The real magic is in the moment when a family realizes that success isn't about what you can afford, it's about what you choose to share.
You don't deserve this money, Patricia sneered through the phone, her voice dripping with contempt. I'm just making sure it goes to someone more worthy. I lay in my hospital bed, still groggy from the emergency C-section, trying to process what my mother-in-law was saying. While I had been bringing her grandchild into the world, she had ransacked my home and stolen $100,000 from my safe. Good luck with that, I replied evenly, my free hand instinctively resting on my newborn daughter's tiny back. The steady beeping of hospital monitors punctuated the silence. Patricia scoffed. That's all you have to say? No tears? No begging? You really are as cold as I thought, Olivia. I smiled, though she couldn't see it. Thanks for letting me know, Patricia. I need to rest now. I ended the call before she could respond, my hand trembling slightly as I set the phone down. My name is Olivia Chen, and at 32, I had just given birth to my first child while my mother-in-law robbed me blind. The irony wasn't lost on me. For 6 years, Patricia had made it clear I wasn't good enough for her son. My crime? Out-earning James. As an investment banker, I had built my wealth carefully, while James, a high school math teacher, never saw the imbalance as an issue. But Patricia did. A wife should support her husband, not overshadow him. She would say at family dinners, her disapproval simmering beneath every interaction. The fact that James was proud of me only made her resentment worse. And now she had taken what she thought was mine to punish me. What she didn't know was that I had been expecting something like this. It had started months ago, innocuous questions about our finances, too much interest in where we stored valuables. Casual, almost idle curiosity. But I knew better. Then came the unannounced visits, always when James was at work. I caught her lingering in my home office, eyes flicking to the painting that concealed our safe. And 3 months ago, she had rifled through James's planner, searching for something she had no business knowing, the safe combination. That was when I made my move. The nurse interrupted my thoughts, checking my vitals. Mrs. Chen, your blood pressure is high. Try to rest, she said, glancing at my phone, still buzzing with messages from Patricia. Family drama can wait. You and your baby come first. If only she knew. I looked down at my daughter, Emma, nestled in her bassinet. She had James's nose, my chin, perfect in every way. And Patricia, in her greed, hadn't even asked about her grandchild. James arrived minutes later, his face pale with concern. Liv, Mom's not answering. She was supposed to bring your overnight bag hours ago. He stopped short when he saw my expression. What happened? I told him everything. The call, the theft, Patricia's cruel gloating. As I spoke, his face darkened. "I'll call the police," he said, reaching for his phone. I caught his wrist. "Not yet. There's something you need to know first." I laid it all out, my suspicions, the months of watching Patricia's every move. I knew she'd try something. I just didn't expect her to strike while I was giving birth. James sat down heavily, running a hand through his hair. "I should have seen this coming. She's always resented you, but this is criminal." "Don't apologize," I said, squeezing his hand. "You're not responsible for her choices, and besides, I allow myself a small smile. She's in for a surprise." James frowned. "What do you mean? Remember when I had the safe service last month?" He nodded. "I did more than change the combination. I had them install a new safe, one with special features." Right on cue, my phone buzzed with an email notification. I opened it, the corners of my mouth curving upward. "Want to see your mother in action?" I asked, holding up my phone. James hesitated, then nodded. The footage was crystal clear. There was Patricia, using his planner to key in the combination. There she was, pulling out stacks of cash, a triumphant smirk on her face. What she didn't notice? The tiny red light blinking in the corner, recording every move. James exhaled sharply. "Jesus." "Keep watching," I said. The video showed Patricia carefully restoring everything, making sure no trace of her crime remained. She thought she had won. She hadn't. "I don't understand," James murmured, eyes narrowing. "That looks like real money." "Because it's supposed to." I cradled Emma closer. "Every bill in that safe is counterfeit, specialized movie prop money. The real savings, in another safe she doesn't know exists." James stared at me, realization dawning. "You set her up." "No," I corrected, meeting his gaze. "I protected our assets from someone I knew would try to take them. There's a difference, and now we have undeniable proof." The phone buzzed again, an email from my lawyer, confirming receipt of the footage. "So when you said good luck with that," I meant good luck explaining to the police why she stole $100,000 in fake bills. James exhaled, rubbing his face. "She's going to lose it when she realizes." I smiled, watching our daughter sleep. She wanted to teach me a lesson about what I deserve. Instead, she's about to learn one herself. The first part of my plan had worked flawlessly. Now it was time for phase 2. The next morning, my phone exploded with notifications. Patricia had apparently discovered the truth about her stolen fortune and wasn't taking it well. The stream of voicemails ranged from furious to hysterical. "How dare you trick me?" Her first message screamed. "You think you're so clever with your fake money? I'll show you what happens when you mess with me." Each subsequent message grew more desperate. By the 8th voicemail, her tone had shifted completely. "Olivia, let's talk about this reasonably," she pleaded. "It was just a misunderstanding. I was going to give it back, I swear. Think about the family." I played them on speaker while a police officer took notes beside my hospital bed. Officer Sarah Martinez had responded to our complaint within hours, her professional demeanor softening when she saw me recovering from surgery with a newborn. "So your mother-in-law didn't even wait for you to deliver the baby before attempting the theft?" she asked, shaking her head in disbelief. "The security footage shows her entering our house at 2:47 p.m., James replied, his voice tight with anger. "Olivia was in emergency surgery at that exact time." Officer Martinez made another note. "And you have documentation proving the money was clearly marked as prop currency?" I nodded, pulling up the purchase order on my phone. Every bill was marked for motion picture use only in accordance with federal law. I have receipts, documentation, and email correspondence with the prop company confirming everything. "This is one of the most well-documented cases of attempted theft I've seen," she admitted. "Usually we have to piece things together, but you've handed us everything we need." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with another call from Patricia. Officer Martinez gestured for me to answer it and record the conversation. "Olivia." Patricia's voice was syrupy sweet now. "I spoke with my lawyer. He says this could be very bad for both of us. How about we forget this whole thing happened? For James and the baby's sake. Both of us?" I kept my voice neutral. "I'm not the one who broke into someone's home and stole what I thought was $100,000. "Broke in," she scoffed. "I used the spare key, and I'm family. It's not stealing if it's family. Besides, you tricked me with fake money. That's basically entrapment. Officer Martinez raised an eyebrow, making more notes. Patricia, I said calmly, you entered our home without permission while I was having emergency surgery. You used a combination you obtained without authorization to access our safe. You took what you believed was $100,000 in real currency. The security cameras caught everything. How exactly is this a misunderstanding? You're twisting everything, she shrieked, her fake sweetness evaporating. James, I know you're there. Are you going to let her do this to your mother? After everything I've sacrificed for you? James took a deep breath. Mom, you tried to steal from my wife while she was giving birth to your grandchild. You haven't even asked about the baby. Do you understand how wrong this is? Wrong. Patricia's voice rose higher. What's wrong is having a daughter-in-law who thinks she's better than everyone else, who has a safe full of money while other people struggle. I was just trying to even things out. By stealing it? James asked quietly. By giving it to people who deserve it more, she snapped. Your sister needs help with her student loans. Your cousin Tom is behind on his mortgage. That money could have helped our family instead of sitting in a safe doing nothing. I exchanged glances with Officer Martinez, who was recording everything. Patricia was basically confessing her entire plan. So you were planning to distribute the stolen money to other family members? I asked, wanting to get it on record. It's not stealing if you're helping family, Patricia insisted. And now you've ruined everything with your stupid fake money. Do you know how embarrassing this is? I'd already told everyone I could help them. James put his head in his hands. Mom, who exactly did you tell about the money you stole? There was a long pause. Nobody, she said quickly, but we could hear the panic in her voice. Just a few people. It doesn't matter now anyway since it's all fake. This is all Olivia's fault. She set me up. No, Patricia, I said firmly. You set yourself up. You chose to break into our home. You chose to steal what you thought was real money. You chose to make promises to people about money that wasn't yours. Those were all your choices. Well, I choose to tell everyone what you did, she threatened. How you tricked me. How you set up cameras in your home to trap me. How you committed the crime of protecting my property. I finished for her. Go ahead. Tell everyone how you got caught trying to steal $100,000 while I was having emergency surgery. I'm sure they'll be very sympathetic. Officer Martinez gestured that she had enough. I ended the call as Patricia launched into another tirade. That was enlightening, the officer said, reviewing her notes. She not only admitted to the theft but also revealed premeditation and plans to distribute stolen funds. Your lawyer is going to have a field day with this. As if summoned, my lawyer's name appeared on my phone. Speaking of which, I said, answering the call. Olivia, Lisa's crisp voice came through the speaker. I've reviewed everything, the security footage, the documentation about the prop money, and now this recorded confession. We have an airtight case. How do you want to proceed? I looked at James, who nodded his support. What are our options? We can press criminal charges for attempted grand theft, Lisa outlined. Given the amount she thought she was stealing, it would be a felony. Or we can use this as leverage for a different kind of resolution. Different how? James asked. Your mother has assets, Lisa explained. Property, investments. We could negotiate a settlement where she liquidates some assets to establish a trust fund for your daughter, the grandchild she ignored while trying to steal from her parents. I considered this, and if she refuses, then we proceed with criminal charges, and she faces potential jail time. Given the evidence we have, conviction is almost certain. James squeezed my hand. It's your call, Liv. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I looked down at Emma, still peacefully oblivious to all the drama surrounding her birth. Let's start with a settlement offer. If Patricia refuses, then we'll pursue criminal charges. She needs to understand there are consequences to her actions, but I'd rather those consequences benefit Emma than put her grandmother in jail. Very diplomatic. Lisa approved. I'll draft the paperwork immediately. In the meantime, do you want me to file for a restraining order? Another call from Patricia lit up my phone screen. Yes, James and I said simultaneously. As Lisa hung up to begin the legal proceedings, I settled back against my pillows, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline of the past 24 hours was wearing off, leaving me drained. You should rest, James said, noticing my fatigue. I'll handle Mom for now. I nodded, already feeling sleep creeping in. Just think, I murmured, someday we'll tell Emma the story of how her grandmother's attempt to steal her parents' savings ended up creating her trust fund instead. James laughed softly. Somehow, I don't think that's the story Mom imagined when she opened our safe. As I drifted off, I couldn't help but smile. Patricia had thought she was teaching me a lesson about what I deserved. Instead, she was about to learn an expensive lesson of her own. And this was just the beginning. The next week unraveled like a slow-motion disaster for Patricia, each attempt to salvage her reputation only accelerating her downfall. Ignoring the cease and desist order from our lawyer, she launched into a social media frenzy, casting herself as the wounded party. My cruel daughter-in-law set me up. She ranted online. She tricked me with fake money just to humiliate me. But instead of sympathy, the responses were merciless. So, you're admitting you tried to steal $100,000? One relative commented. While she was in emergency surgery, added another. And you still haven't met your grandchild? A third chimed in. With each defensive reply, Patricia only cemented her guilt. By the time she realized she was digging her own grave, it was too late. Screenshots of her posts had already been forwarded to our lawyer and added to our legal arsenal. The settlement meeting was scheduled 2 weeks after Emma's birth. In Lisa's sleek downtown office, James and I sat on one side of the conference table, while Patricia and her reluctant-looking lawyer sat on the other. The contrast was stark. Lisa was composed, armed with neatly organized folders of evidence, while Patricia's lawyer looked like he was already regretting his involvement. Lisa opened the meeting with calm efficiency. Mrs. Harrison, we're prepared to offer you an alternative to criminal charges. She slid a document across the table. You will liquidate your rental property and investment portfolio to fund a trust for Emma. The total should approximate the amount you attempted to steal. Patricia's face darkened. This is extortion. You're trying to ruin me. No, Lisa corrected smoothly. We're offering you a way to avoid a felony conviction by making restitution through a trust for your grandchild, the one you ignored while committing a crime. Patricia turned to her lawyer, expecting backup. Instead, he sighed, shifting uncomfortably. Mrs. Harrison, given the overwhelming evidence, this is an incredibly lenient offer. Lenient? She hissed. They're bleeding me dry. I finally spoke, my voice even. Not at all. You're only giving up what you tried to steal. Consider it karma. James squeezed my hand under the table as Patricia launched into a tirade about family loyalty and my so-called cruelty. But we'd expected this. Patricia had never taken responsibility for anything in her life. Why start now? Lisa, unfazed, simply closed her folder. You have 48 hours to decide. If you decline, we proceed with criminal charges. Then, silence. No calls, no messages, no social media rants. And on the morning of the deadline, Patricia's lawyer called Lisa. His client would accept the settlement. 1 month later, Emma's trust fund was formally established, ironically, larger than the sum Patricia had tried to steal. The rental property sold quickly, and the stock market had been in her favor. In the end, she lost more than she ever could have gained. She moved in with her sister in another state, still refusing to meet Emma, but that didn't stop her from crafting a new narrative. Online, she became a martyr, a devoted grandmother cruelly kept from her grandchild. But the family saw through it. Even her sister admitted, she's always been entitled. Maybe this will finally teach her a lesson. As for us, life moved on. Emma grew stronger each day, filling our home with laughter. The safe behind the painting remained, now empty except for the prop money. A quiet reminder that sometimes the best defense isn't confrontation, it's preparation. One evening, as we watched Emma sleep, James shook his head with a rueful smile. Mom always said you were too obsessed with money. But in the end, she's the one who let greed destroy her relationship with her granddaughter. I ran a gentle hand over Emma's soft curls. Sometimes people tell you exactly who they are. You just have to be ready when they do. The security cameras in the safe still blinked silently. We never needed them again. Patricia still told her version of events to anyone who would listen, spinning tales of betrayal and trickery. But now, when people heard her story, they didn't ask why I had set up cameras. They asked why she was trying to steal from her own son's family in the first place. And sometimes the most damning lessons are the ones people teach themselves. Family shares everything, Anna. Don't be so selfish. Sarah's voice dripped with false sweetness through the speakerphone. My grip on the phone tightened as I stared at my empty jewelry box, my hands trembling. Every velvet compartment, once filled with pieces carrying decades of love, tradition, and memories, was now barren. My grandmother's sapphire necklace, my mother's pearl earrings, the diamond bracelet my husband gave me on our first anniversary, gone. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Some of those pieces were insured, Sarah, I said, forcing my voice to stay even. And some were family heirlooms. Exactly, she chirped. Family heirlooms should be shared with family. And since I'm family now, I have just as much right to them as you do. Besides, you never even wear half of those pieces. I thought about the security camera I had discreetly installed in my bedroom 6 months ago, after noticing little things vanishing every time Sarah visited. The same camera that had recorded every second of her rifling through my jewelry box 2 days ago. Where are they now? I asked, my voice deceptively calm as I downloaded the footage onto my laptop. Sarah laughed. Oh, don't worry about that. They're safe with me. I'm actually wearing Mom's pearl earrings right now. They look so much better on me than they ever did on you. My mother's pearls. The last gift she gave me before cancer stole her from me 3 years ago. A flash of grief cut through the anger, but I steeled myself against it. Those weren't yours to take, Sarah, I said, my tone like ice. Return everything by tomorrow, or I'll take action. Her saccharine act cracked, replaced by irritation. Action? Against family? James would never forgive you for that. James, my husband of 5 years. The man who had spent his life making excuses for his younger sister, blind to the manipulative games she played. Ever since their parents died in a car crash when they were teenagers, he had shouldered a misplaced sense of responsibility for her, never seeing her for who she truly was. We'll see about that, I replied, ending the call. I exhaled slowly and clicked play on the security footage. The timestamp read 2:47 p.m. Right when Sarah knew I'd be giving a presentation at my medical conference. She entered my bedroom with the spare key James had insisted she keep for emergencies. For nearly an hour, she sifted through my jewelry box with meticulous care, selecting each piece with the precision of a thief who had done this before. She even paused to admire herself in my mirror, tilting her head as she fastened my mother's pearls around her neck, smiling like she'd won. A notification lit up my phone. James. Sarah says you're being difficult about sharing some jewelry. Come on, honey, he knew how much she admires your collection. Can't you be generous with family? I stared at his message, that familiar wave of frustration rising. He still didn't see it. He never did. I forwarded him the security footage. Then I typed, your sister didn't borrow a few pieces. She emptied my entire jewelry box, including Mom's pearls and Grandma's sapphires. We're talking about $95,000 worth of jewelry, James, some of which can never be replaced. His response was instant. Are you sure? Sarah wouldn't do that. Before I could answer, my phone rang. Megan, my insurance investigator. Anna? Her voice was sharp. We just got a hit. Someone matching Sarah's description tried to sell your grandmother's sapphire necklace at Essex Jewelry Buyers this morning. My breath caught. Please tell me they didn't buy it. They didn't. The owner flagged it in our registry and stalled her while his assistant called me. We have security footage. I clenched my jaw. She wasn't just taking my jewelry, she was selling it. Megan continued. We ran checks on other shops in the area. 3 other pieces matching your collection's description were sold in the last 2 days. We're pulling footage now. I exhaled, my mind racing. James needed to see this. Another text from him. Just talked to Sarah. She says she was only borrowing them to show her friends. She's returning everything tomorrow. Can we just drop this? I typed back. Ask her about Essex Jewelry Buyers this morning. Ask her why she tried to sell Grandma's necklace. Silence. Then, 10 minutes later, my doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Sarah standing there, her face flushed with anger, still wearing my mother's pearls. You had no right to put cameras in your bedroom, she spat, her voice sharp with panic. And now you're making up lies about me selling anything. I was just borrowing them. James stood behind her, his face drawn, his hands shoved into his pockets. But this time, something was different. This time, there was doubt in his eyes. I met Sarah's glare with steady resolve. Take off my mother's pearls and tell the truth. The insurance investigator already has footage of you at multiple pawn shops. This isn't going away. Her hand flew to the pearls, clutching them possessively. These look better on me anyway, she snapped. You don't deserve these things. You're not even blood family. And there it was. The truth behind her mask of sugary sweetness. I had never been family to her. Without breaking eye contact, I lifted my phone and dialed Megan. I put it on speaker. It's time, I said simply. Sarah's face drained of color. She had spent her life slipping out of consequences, twisting people's perceptions to her advantage. But this time, she had crossed a line even her brother couldn't fix. The next hour played out like a scene from a crime thriller. Megan arrived with 2 police officers, her tablet loaded with irrefutable proof of Sarah's actions over the past 2 days. My bedroom security footage looped on screen, showing Sarah methodically emptying my jewelry box, trying on my heirlooms, and slipping them into her designer handbag like they were hers to take. Mrs. Walker, Megan addressed Sarah, her voice clipped and professional. We have footage of you attempting to sell this insured necklace at Essex jewelry buyers this morning. She turned the screen towards Sarah, displaying a clear image of my grandmother's sapphire necklace. Additionally, we've confirmed sales of 3 other pieces at pawn shops across the city. Sarah's breath hitched. Those shops weren't supposed to keep records, she muttered, then froze, realizing her mistake. James, who had been standing silently near the door, paled. His expression was a mixture of disbelief and horror, like a man who just realized he'd spent years living in a carefully woven illusion. Weren't supposed to keep records, he repeated, his voice hollow. Sarah, what have you done? I watched as years of denial crumbled in his eyes. He had spent a lifetime making excuses for his sister, choosing to see only what he wanted. But now, faced with undeniable proof, there was nowhere left for him to hide. Show me the pawn shop footage, he said hoarsely. Megan didn't hesitate. She pulled up the videos and there was Sarah, clear as day, standing at 3 different pawn shop counters. In each clip, she confidently displayed my jewelry, haggled over the prices, and walked out counting cash. The timestamps confirmed she'd have sold the pieces within hours of stealing them. Total amount received, $27,400, Megan stated. Well below their actual worth, of course. We need to know where the rest of the collection is. Sarah's eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. Her fingers clutched at my mother's pearls, the same ones she had refused to remove. I needed the money, she blurted. My credit cards are maxed out, and I have obligations. James stepped toward her, his voice razor sharp. Obligations? What kind of obligations? She refused to meet his gaze. It doesn't matter, she snapped. Anna has insurance, doesn't she? She'll get the money back. I don't see why everyone's making such a big deal out of this. One of the officers stepped forward. Mrs. Walker, selling stolen property is a serious offense. The insurance company has filed a formal complaint. You'll need to come down to the station to make a statement. Sarah whipped around, wild-eyed. James, are you seriously going to let them do this to me? She screeched. I'm your sister. James flinched at the words, but his face remained unreadable. Where's the rest of the jewelry, Sarah? His voice was tired, defeated. For the first time that night, Sarah hesitated. It's in my storage unit, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Unit 247 at Safekeep Storage. The key is in my purse. The officers exchanged glances. One stepped forward to escort Sarah to the station while the other left with Megan to retrieve what remained of my collection. As Sarah was led to the door, she twisted to face me, her expression a mix of desperation and venom. This is your fault, she spat. If you hadn't been so selfish, if you had just shared, like family is supposed to. Family doesn't steal from family, I interrupted, my voice calm, unwavering. Family doesn't sell heirlooms for quick cash. You did this to yourself, Sarah. She opened her mouth to argue, but the officer pulled her toward the waiting patrol car. And just like that, she was gone. The silence that followed was deafening. James sat heavily on the couch, rubbing a hand down his face. I should have seen it, he murmured. All these years, the little things that went missing, the way she always needed money. I just didn't want to believe it. I sank down beside him, not touching, just present. She's your sister, I said softly. You wanted to protect her. James let out a hollow laugh. But I should have protected you too, he admitted, looking up at me with red-rimmed eyes. All those times I told you to let things go, to be more understanding. I was wrong. I was so wrong, Anna. My phone buzzed. A text from Megan. Retrieve the remaining jewelry. Everything accounted for except what was sold. We'll need you to verify the inventory tomorrow. I showed the message to James. He nodded, exhaling slowly. I'll come with you, he said, and I'll make sure Sarah pays back every cent she got from those pawn shops. It's not about the money, I murmured. Some of those pieces, they're irreplaceable. My mom's pearls. I hesitated, my voice thickening. She gave them to me right before she died. James reached for my hand, squeezing gently. I know, and I'll get them back. His jaw clenched. She's going to face consequences this time. For once in her life. As if on cue, my phone rang. The police station. Mrs. Chen, your sister-in-law is refusing to remove a pair of pearl earrings, claiming they were a gift from your husband. We need Mr. Walker to come down and clarify the situation. James stood, his face hardening with determination. I'll handle this, he said. It's time I stopped enabling her. I watched him go, feeling a strange mix of exhaustion and hope. Maybe after everything, this was the wake-up call he needed. My phone buzzed again, this time from Sarah's number. You've ruined everything. Happy now. James will never forgive you for this. I stared at the message, then slowly locked my phone. Instead of responding, I walked to my bedroom, where my open jewelry box still sat on the dresser, its velvet compartments empty. Each missing piece represented more than just stolen possessions. They were fragments of my past, connections to the people I had loved and lost. Sarah hadn't just stolen jewelry. She had tried to steal my history, my family's legacy. And for what? Quick cash to cover her debts. The insurance would compensate me for the monetary value of the pawned pieces, but some things couldn't be replaced. Some betrayals cut too deep to be forgotten. I reached out and closed the jewelry box, letting the latch click softly into place. Tomorrow would bring police reports, insurance claims, legal proceedings. But for tonight, the truth was finally out. And sometimes that was the first step toward healing. 6 months after Sarah's theft, I sat in a hushed courtroom, watching as the judge prepared to deliver her sentence. Sarah had rejected every plea deal, clinging to the belief that being family would somehow shield her from consequences. It didn't. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage from my bedroom, records of her pawnshop transactions, and most damning of all, a recorded phone call where she sneered that family shares everything while actively trying to sell my heirlooms. The judge's voice was firm, unwavering. 2 years probation, mandatory counseling, full restitution for the pawned pieces, and a restraining order preventing you from entering the victim's home. Sarah stood frozen in her designer outfit, likely paid for with stolen money, her carefully rehearsed tears failing to sway anyone. Beside me, James sat motionless, his face a mask of quiet resignation. The past months had forced him to confront painful truths about his sister, about himself. And yet, when Sarah had called him, again and again, pleading, bargaining, he had stood firm. The defendant will surrender any remaining stolen jewelry immediately, the judge continued, including the pearl earrings she is currently wearing. Sarah's hand flew to my mother's pearls, her fingers curling around them like they might disappear. She had clung to them even after her arrest, insisting they were safer with her. A bailiff stepped forward, hand extended. For a moment, I thought she might refuse. Then James stood. His voice was low, steady. Sarah, give them back. Her lips parted, as if she wanted to argue, but something in James's face stopped her. With trembling fingers, she unclasped the pearls and handed them over. The bailiff placed them in my waiting palm, and as their cool weight settled against my skin, I felt the sting of unshed tears. Mom's last gift was finally home. Outside the courthouse, Sarah made one last attempt. Anna. Her voice was raw, desperate. Please, we're family. You don't have to go through with this. I met her gaze, steady and unyielding. The charges weren't dropped because this wasn't just about me, I said. It was about trust, about consequences, about respect, things you still don't understand. James's arm slid around my shoulders, not just a gesture of comfort, but a choice, a declaration. Sarah's face twisted as she looked at him. You've turned him against me. No, Sarah, James said quietly. Your actions did that. Get help. Real help. Maybe one day we can rebuild. But not until you understand what you've done. We turned and walked away, leaving her standing alone with her court-appointed lawyer. The spring air felt lighter somehow, as if the storm had finally passed. Back home, I carefully returned each recovered piece to my jewelry box. Some heirlooms had been salvaged, but the pawned pieces were gone forever. The insurance money sat untouched in our account, a hollow replacement for what had been lost. James lingered in the doorway, watching as I arranged the last of my treasures. Then hesitantly, he stepped forward and pulled a small box from his pocket. I found this, he said softly. Inside lay a delicate gold chain with a heart-shaped locket. My breath caught. Mom's locket. I thought it was lost in the move years ago. James swallowed hard. Sarah had it. His voice was heavy with guilt. I found it in her apartment while helping her pack after the arrest. She must have taken it back then. I ran my thumb over the worn gold surface, then clicked it open. Inside were tiny photos of my parents on their wedding day, one of the last keepsakes I had of them together. Tears blurred my vision. Thank you. James exhaled slowly. I should have protected you. He sat beside me, his voice raw. All those years of making excuses for her. Of telling you to be more understanding. I was wrong. I leaned into him, feeling the warmth of his presence. We can't change the past, I murmured, but we can learn from it. A week later, an envelope arrived in the mail. Unexpected. Inside was a letter from Sarah's court-appointed counselor. She had started therapy, addressing her kleptomania, confronting her entitlement. It would be a long road, but at least it was a beginning. Now my jewelry box sits on my dresser, no longer just a collection of valuable trinkets, but a testament to something greater. A reminder that love doesn't mean blind forgiveness. That family isn't a free pass for betrayal. That's sometimes the hardest but most loving thing you can do, is let someone face the consequences of their actions. James and I are stronger for it. Mom's pearls catch the light as I fasten them around my neck, their weight familiar and comforting. Some things are worth fighting for. Some things are worth protecting. And sometimes the most valuable gift you can give someone is the chance to change, even if they have to learn the hard way.